welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews, and my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a specific movie. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Be sure to like the video too, because that spreads magical YouTube fairy dust all over my channel. And if you are brand new to my channel, yay, I'm so glad you're here and that you finally found me. I've been waiting for you. All right, so the movie I'm reviewing today is called Operation Seawolf. This World War II movie was released in theaters just a few days ago and is now available on VOD, video on demand. The movie itself is rated R and is an hour and 27 minutes. Now, the movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a C-. Wah, wah. Let me explain why. Don't click away to another channel. Keep watching. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about. I'll also share some interesting lines that I think are also really great themes for the movie, but also just interesting lines worth thinking about, and even recommendations for other films that are either similar or better than this one. All right, so you ready? Let's dive in. In a nutshell, in the last days of World War II, Germany, desperate for any last grasp to defeat their Allied powers, formed together the German Navy and the last remaining U-boats for one last mission to attack the United States homeland. The dramatic film was both written and directed by Stephen Luke. That always impresses me. All right, so here's the list of things that I liked about the movie. First of all, this is a man's man kind of movie starring Dolph Lundgren and Frank Grillo. One of the frustrating elements of the movie is just watching these two action stars just walk around in an office and walk around in a submarine, because we're so used to seeing them, be action stars. But it's still good to see them. If you like them, there are parts of this movie that I think you'll enjoy. The movie is based on a mostly true story. I mean, like Hollywood, they try to make things a little bit more exciting, and it's hard to know exactly what's accurate. But I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So, for example, let me share some fun facts with you. All of the internal submarine scenes were filmed inside an actual World War II submarine, the USS Cod. Now, the USS Cod Submarine Memorial is a National Historic Landmark and is docked in Cleveland, Ohio. So that's pretty cool. Another fun fact is we get to see images of the real ships and locations from World War II, and I always appreciate that. Now, having said that, here are some of the things that I didn't like about the movie or just thought could have been done better. For example, even though the movie clocks in at a respectable 90 minutes, like most films do, it somehow felt very short and too simple. Like after I watched the movie, I was like, really? That was it? There are some really bad acting moments and mostly bad German accents. So rather than have American actors trying to sound German, it just sounds really hokey and fake. And I wish that they would have started off with maybe the accents and then gone into the English, which some movies have done before. That way it just wouldn't have felt so forced and awkward the entire time of the movie. You know what I mean? It definitely looks like a low budget movie, especially with the terrible visual effects. Even the dead fish hanging on hooks look like super fake props, because they are. And who has fish just like hanging in their bunk room? I don't know, maybe they would have done that, but they're obviously not real. I laughed out loud when one of the crew members walked by others who were sleeping in their bunks. And I just noticed this. It didn't last for very long, but it just made me laugh out loud because it made me think about their budget. The sheets are the exact same fabric as the shirt that this guy is wearing. And so again, I'm thinking, well, they had a lot of fabric that they bought for costumes, and maybe they just had extras. And so they made this guy's shirt to match the bunks. Then there's a similar design. It's like a checkered pattern, but a different color that another guy is wearing. Anyway, like I said, it just made me laugh out loud. sometimes it's hard to actually understand what's being said, partially because of that fake German accent and partially because they're speaking quietly. And so sometimes I just don't know what happened. One of the big problems of the movie is that the studio doesn't understand its audience. Viewers will mostly consist of history buffs and more movie fans, right? Yet so many of the scenes show a lack of historical accuracy, which insults audiences who want a military movie to really love. For example, not all of the facts are accurate. At the 47-minute mark in the movie, U-578 is sunk by naval hedgehog depth charges in the Atlantic near the coastal USA. But in reality, U-578 was sunk by Allied aircraft attack at a totally different location in the Bay of Biscay near Spain with no survivors. Another example is one scene when Dolph Lundgren is seen holding a Walther PP pistol. Now, these were made from 1939 to the present, and at no time did naval officers of the German Navy carry this pistol. In the movie, a German U-boat is shown in the Hudson River in New York, but in reality, only 2 U-boats got so close, and neither of them actually entered the harbor. They only passed at the mouth of the river without entry. U-505 and U-37. Neither conducted hostile action in the Hudson during World War II. So it just makes me wonder, I guess they're just trying to make the movie more exciting, but if you're going to use some history, why not make it accurate, right? Overall, the movie is just kind of boring. And know that I feel bad saying that for sure. I know that the crew worked really hard by creating this movie, and they did a fine job in many aspects of the movie. And I think their hearts were in the right place. It just ultimately is not a great movie. Now, some people may say it's weird that a girl would like a World War II movie, but I do. I actually really like military movies. There's so much heroism that can be illustrated, and definitely examples of courage and bravery and vulnerability and all of that. And so my final feeling about the movie was just one of disappointment. All right, so now before I go, let me share some tips for parents and some interesting lines and themes. So first of all, kids are going to be very bored, and so will some adults. There is a lot of war violence that shows bombs coming from both airplanes and other submarines. There's lots of destruction, lots of people die, and we do see some blood, but it definitely could have been even more gory, and so at least that's a good thing. It's not as bad as it could have been. Some of the themes that are illustrated very well are patriotism, hope, proving oneself, honor, and trust. So I always write down funny lines and interesting lines so you can kind of get a feel for what the movie's really like. And unfortunately, I didn't write down any funny lines. It's a very dramatic movie. And so in other words, it's definitely not a comedy. But there were some interesting lines that I wanted to share with you. One is by Dolph Lundgren, and he says, "We have 2 options, surrender or fight." Now, that could actually be a line in both categories, both funny lines and interesting lines. Funny because, well, yeah, what other options do you have? And then, a serious line meaning, all right, let's do this. And then another line is spoken by Captain Hans. He's Kessler. He's played by Dolph Lundgren. And he says, "Don't let the mistakes of your past determine your future." And that's actually a really big theme of the movie. And I liked that theme a lot. That you can be whoever you want to be. It doesn't matter who you were before, and to start making those changes to the person that you want to be right now. All right, so as I was watching this, immediately I thought of one movie, and it's one of my all-time favorite war movies. It's called The Hunt for Red October with Sean Connery and a very young Alec Baldwin. It's just so cleverly written, and there's suspense and tension, and it's got Americans versus Russians. Anyway, great movie. And so if you had to choose between this one or Hunt for Red October, definitely go for Hunt for Red October. And if you've never seen that one, definitely check it out. All right, thank you so much for spending a few minutes while we talk about movies. Of course, I was the one doing all the talking, I know. But comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.